This is the Projekt Gemineye Update, your source for all things Projekt Gemineye. Brought to you by Riffical Records. And here's your host, Mark Anthony K. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Projekt Gemineye Update number 138. So I hope everybody out there is doing well. It's pretty cold and chilly over here in Canada. We've been going through a bit of a cold spurt, and apparently more snow's coming, so that's not too good. But in any case, I'm here to talk about a few things. Number one, some more orders have gone out for people who are waiting for their CDs or their vinyl. It's coming your way. Again, of course, things when you think it's going to go smoothly and everything's going nicely, there always has to be something to screw things up. The Canada Post online customs form, which I have to fill out now because they don't want to use paper anymore. Yeah, another great decision by the government of Canada. So of course, the first week or two of doing it, no problem once I got used to how to do it. And, the last 2 or 3 days, I entered the information and they keep saying, sorry, re-input your information, error. So in other words, this has been screwing up. The one thing that's a consolation is that it still gives me this little square box where you can take the little scanner thing and they just go boop and they get the information. So, of course, I have to go in now to the lineup, bring the records, 6, 7, 8 of them, and manually now input them on my phone and have her go doot. So you can hear the sighing behind me with about the 9 or 10 people waiting in line behind me. But you know what? Don't blame me. Blame Canada Post. End of rant. So, anyways, your records are coming. The pre-order is going excellent. Like I said before, we're about the halfway mark and continuing on with an order here and there every day now still, which is good. And a few people have contacted me saying that if they are past the 50 number mark, if they could please get a poster as well. I have noted it and you will receive it. Thank you very much for that. So now, the main reason for this video today is because I've decided to start something up that I'm going to do every once in a while on this channel. It won't be like all the time, but once in a while, once I can arrange the people involved in this to do it. And that is, I'm going to start interviewing a few people who are involved with the Projekt Gemineye behind the scenes. For example, I'd like to get James McCarthy on here to talk about the album covers. And maybe I can get Kevin Park on to talk about the lacquer making. That might be a cool one to do. But first up, I have an interview that I did today with co-administrator of the Projekt Gemineye Facebook group, Mr. Mark Arnold. He's been helping me out a lot. He's been an immense help for me. He's been a longtime supporter of the band from way back. We did about a 20-minute interview here where he talks about, how he got into music, what kind of music he loves, stuff like that, how he got into Projekt Gemineye. It's really interesting, some of the things he talks about. So that'll be coming up now. So sit back, get yourself a drink of your choice, and let's take a listen to me and Mr. Mark Arnold talk about what he does to help me out in Projekt Gemineye and his love of music and what else he does, in his life. Okay, here we go. I'll be back shortly. Greetings, friends, and welcome to Projekt Gemineye Update number whatever it is, because I don't remember what it is right now. But in any case, this is a very special episode today because I'm going to start talking to some of the people that have helped me down this path of musical adventure that I've been going through with all these releasing of records and so on and so forth. And in case you're wondering who's joining me here on the screen, this is my very good friend and co-administrator of the Projekt Gemineye a Facebook group page, Mr. Mark Arnold. How are you, Mark?
Good. How are you?
Very, very good. So, of course, you know, people like seeing the kind of, the face behind the name and stuff like that. So I thought it was important to start having some of these people come up on here and talk about, themselves and, history of their musical love and stuff like that and how we got connected and stuff like that. So rather than me yapping, let's get going with the questions and see what we come up with. So let's talk about music first a bit. So what got you into music? How far back can you remember your first like love of music?
Well, I'm old, so my memory's failing, but some of the earliest musical memories I have, my dad was in the oil field, so we moved around a lot. But I can remember, I think I was around 4 or so. I can remember being in my bunk bed in Inuvik, where it's
Ooh,
really cold,
okay.
and up in the Northwest Territories. And I can remember my mom would kind of put me to bed, and then she would put on. I don't remember if it was specifically for me or if it was just something she was listening to, but she would put on. We had an old console turntable, and she would put on Elton John Greatest Hits Volume 2,
Hmm.
and I can remember hearing all the great songs from that playing through my bedroom door while which would end up putting me to sleep. So that's some of the earliest memories I have. And, growing up, my parents, listened to lots of stuff. Like my dad was into CCR and the Beach Boys and that kind of stuff. And my mom was, into Steppenwolf and Black Sabbath and stuff like that. But most of the stuff I grew up with as a kid anyway, until I started buying my own music, was more, contemporary pop stuff.
Hmm. Now, one thing that's very
Sorry, I was just going to say, which I listen to almost none of now.
yeah. Well, what's interesting is that me and you have a love of Kiss music. I know that you're a big collector of Kiss stuff, as I am. Would you say that that's an accurate statement?
Oh, absolutely. You know, I had those earlier, uh, pop interests. And when I was, as best I can remember, I was about 8 years old. My uncle Brent, who was maybe, I don't even, I'd have to go back in time and calculate how old he was, but he was probably late teens, early 20s at the time. And we went to my grandparents' house, and he was still living at home at that time. And he put on, I was looking at some of his records, and he put on, as the best I remember, it was Kiss Alive. It may have been Dressed to Kill,
Hmm.
uh, but I think it was Alive. And I remember hearing, at some point, I remember hearing Deuce live, and that just blew my mind. And of course, the gatefold, pictures of Kiss on Kiss Alive, and just the makeup and the whole idea of it was just, blew my mind. And I was like, this is amazing stuff. And, that made me a lifelong fan.
Great, great. So, what would you say right now is the bands that you kind of listen to right now?
Well, unfortunately, some of my favorite bands have started to hang it up,
Mm-hmm.
as happens when they get older. Other than Kiss is on their working on hanging it up, but who knows
Hmm.
with COVID when that's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
But was also a big Slayer fan. From the time I was in high school. They have now kind of hung it up, unfortunately. Big Motorhead fan. It's
Hmm.
probably my second favorite band, and they unfortunately, with the passing of Lemmy, had to hang it up. Although Phil Campbell and the Bastard Sons have put out a couple albums, which have been great. Really enjoyed that stuff. So now it's I've over the years, I've been had a fairly narrow focus of music. I'm
Hmm.
not the kind of person who will listen to just anything, and I kind of laugh, in a comedic way that I'm even listening to anything in the progressive realm, because there was a time where that was just like, yeah, why would I listen to that? That's way too highbrow for me, you know. But after you know, kind of meeting with you and listening to you on Kiss FAQ, and then later um, finding out that you also did the Yes Music podcast, and I was like, okay, I'll check this out. And I started, you and I started messaging back and forth about some different Yes albums and what kind of stuff. I think it was around that time I started getting back into collecting vinyl as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I would be like, hey, Mark, what do you think I should get for the next album, next Yes album? And, what do you think I would be into? And it's like, oh, check this out, check that out. And, then I started picking them up, and, we just kind of built a friendship over time with that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So, I mean, that was going to be one of my questions, which you obviously answered, was how we kind of made a first connection. Because what I'm kind of curious about, and I'm anxious to hear this answer from other people as well once I get them on, as well as, what do you remember your first introduction to Projekt Gemineye music?
I I don't remember honestly if you had done a Facebook video or there had been a mention on Kiss FAQ. I don't honestly remember the first time, or maybe it was something we were chatting about and you said, hey, I'm going to be doing this album. And I was very excited about it right away. I was like, well, not that I had a real back knowledge of any of the music you'd done, but I was like, hey, this is something a friend of mine's going to do or is doing. I want to check it out. So, I was on board with supporting it right away, and certainly haven't looked back. It's no regrets.
Yeah, obviously. Well, I really appreciate your support. I mean, obviously, you're one of these people that I've, talked to really early on in the whole Projekt Gemineye thing, which is also one of the reasons why I had you come on board as the co-administrator, because I trust your opinion and I trust, you're the kind of guy where if I ask you to do something to help me with something, you do it, and you're a man of your word. So I really appreciate that about you as well. What I'm curious to hear, I've released now 5 records now. Okay. Of the ones that you have heard, because I'm not sure, did you receive, I don't know if you received your book 2 yet. It was in the mail a few days ago. I sent it. I don't think
I haven't got it yet, but obviously I got the digital copy.
Oh yeah, okay. So I'm curious, of the 5 records that came out, do you have a favorite?
Of course.
Okay. I'm curious what that is.
Honestly, my favorite album is probably still Ordinary Day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which may surprise some people and may not surprise other people. I don't know. For some reason, that album just has something that connects with me really well. And even A Brand New Day is probably my second favorite album.
Wow.
Nothing to take away from the other albums, because certainly you've got some great guest artists on the last few albums, and there's some amazing stuff on there. But as far as, I don't know even if it's the subject matter or what it is, but it's just those 2 albums are definitely my favorites.
That's really impressive, and actually it's very interesting, because I did an interview not too long ago with Anthony Kendrick. He's on our page as well, and he did a huge thing of my whole back catalog of stuff, even before Projekt Gemineye. And when I asked him the same kind of question, he said the same thing. He said An Ordinary Day was his favorite record still, and a lot of people have told me that too. Which is, on one hand, you kind of think of it as an artist, and you're like, what did I do differently there that I haven't done on the next couple of records? You know what I mean? But it really isn't anything pre-planned, or wasn't anything, there wasn't some magic formula that I took before I started writing it or something. It's just, I guess people really connected it. Maybe it was the right music at that time for the people who really like it,
Yeah, it's like I said, that was, other than the Yes and a little bit of other progressive stuff I'd listened to, it was really kind of my first deep dive into any stuff with a progressive flavor, and I found it very interesting, and for some reason it just kind of had a connection with me, and I really really love the songs on those albums. And like I said, not that I don't love the stuff since then, but if I had to pick a favorite, that would be the stuff that probably connects with me the most.
Great. That's absolutely fantastic. Um, Question: since
Yep.
you are involved, obviously, with the page, then you've helped me do a few polls and stuff like that, like the most recent one about what color we should select for the next record, which went very well, and in fact was the reason why teal blue ended up being the color of the next record because of the poll that you put up for us. I'm just wondering, I get the feeling that the whole group of people that are on that page are very cool people, very easy to get along with. How would you describe the people in that group as far as you being a co-administrator?
The supporters are amazing. The people we have on there, are very interactive. You know, everyone's, it's anytime you get a group of people, everyone's going to have their own opinion of what's the best, and those polls always bring that out. Quite honestly, I never would have guessed in 100 years that teal blue would have been the winner. I really, I don't really know what I thought. I think I voted for orange or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. I certainly wouldn't have guessed teal blue. I mean, here's a question for you. Do you have any teal blue albums? I'm sure you
Uh,
must have a collection somewhere, but
I think I have one. I think there's one blue along that lines that I have somewhere in my collection. And I think it might have been even like a really like an odd record, like a porcupine tree record or something like that, that might have been in one of these odd colors, but it's really not a color that I've seen very often used on a record. So that's also kind of a good
yeah,
thing.
yeah, that kind of makes it cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah,
So
the supporters are absolutely great. They are always giving us feedback, what they like, and what they'd like to see in the future, and it makes my job easier. And if any of our supporters that are watching this, feel free to continue to contribute and post pictures when you get your albums and posters and all the merch that Mark makes available. We love seeing that stuff.
yeah, very, very well said. I know one of the people that's really into doing that is Alex Walker. He's one of these
Yeah,
guys who always makes these immense, huge pictures of like, here's all
yeah,
the stuff I've ever
pages.
got.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really impressive seeing that because I'd even
I
meant go on.
oh, I was just gonna say, I was trying to do something like that too. I didn't know if I had enough real estate to do it though.
Yeah, because I mean, it's funny because when he put up his stuff, I kept thinking to myself, do I even have some of these things that he's showing on there? Like, I don't even think I have some of these stickers anymore that he has collected as well and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah,
one of the things I know that you've collected is mugs. I think you have a collection
yeah,
of Project Gemini mugs.
yeah, I do.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have two. You probably have more than that.
I'm trying to think how many you made. I have at least two. I might have three. I think
Mm,
I think I have. My memory is not great. I think I have one with the Project Gemini logo. I
mm,
think I have Brand New Day and Ordinary Day. I don't know if you did one for Man of Science, Man of Dreams or not.
mm. I don't think I did, but that's one
Don't
thing
think.
I'm gonna. That's one thing I think I'll talk about as well is that coming up after this record gets out, I think I'm going to start firing back some of these things again to make available for people again, especially some of these newer albums. Like I want to do like a book one mug, book two mug, the Man of Science mug too. So people are into that, they can grab those things and the shirts, which I happen to notice that you are wearing a Project Gemini shirt,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, can't probably really see it in the picture here,
There
but
you go. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, those are really that shirt particularly was pretty popular. That one sold quite a bit actually. So I
I
think I might want to get those back up again.
actually have two of these.
Oh, really, eh? That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
So a question for you before we start getting towards wrapping things up. Um, COVID obviously has affected many, many things in the world. Obviously, the whole love of going out and seeing concerts and stuff like that. One thing I'm always curious to hear about from people is, before this happened, do you remember what the last concert you went to, and was there a concert that you were looking forward to going to that you couldn't go to because of COVID?
The last concert I went to, my memory's not great. It was either Elton John or it was Fleetwood Mac. I don't honestly remember which one came first.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, it was one of those two.
So anything missed?
I haven't actually technically missed any. My buddy and I have tickets to see ZZ Top for at that time, it was touted as the 50 or 51st anniversary tour. Now in 2022, I guess will be the 52nd anniversary. That is scheduled, if I remember right, for the early April, and I won't be shocked if that gets canceled or postponed once again. Still waiting for Kiss to come my way. Really regretting that I didn't meet up with Julian Gill in Vancouver for that show, because they're not really looking like they might come to Edmonton. So I could be out of luck in seeing them on the last tour, which would be a crime for a fan that's a longtime fan to not get to see them on their last tour. So hoping and praying that the gods that be, the Kiss gods, will allow me to make one more show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of sad, because I mean, I know a lot of people who have been saying the same thing, like being on the Yes Music podcast. There's been quite a few people who I've heard say that they've had tickets for the Relayer tour that they were supposed to do, where they played the whole of Relayer plus some of the greatest hits in England. They got canceled, and now it got rebooked again for November of this year. But from what I've heard, Carl Palmer, who's doing the ELP experience, put up a post saying that all the promoters that he deals with for the booking of that tour have already told him that it best be that they just cancel everything and refocus on doing everything for 2022. So it doesn't look like very many concerts will be rolling around in 2021 this year, which is a shame, because I was hoping maybe at the end of the year there might be some coming back. But hey, you never know. You never know what happens tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe who's to say in a month's time something miraculous might happen? Like they might find some be-all, end-all stop gap thing for the virus, and everything gets back to normal within like 2 months. You never know. Think optimistically, right? But eventually it's going to have to come to an end. I mean, just like with all viruses, we will become immune to it eventually, right?
Hopefully, anyway.
Yeah.
Until the next one comes along.
That's okay. And so the last question I have to ask you, which I'm very curious about. Now, this is, of course, if you want to talk about this, because some people might not like talking about this kind of stuff, but what do you do for work?
I work in law enforcement for our local health authority. So I deal with all kinds of interesting people who come to the hospital. Many people wouldn't believe, unless they've experienced it themselves, or wouldn't imagine that some of the ways that people behave when they come to the hospital. And I'm not just talking about people that are upset because they're in a lot of pain or something like that. Just some of the crazy, drunks and drug addicts and mental health issues that we deal with on a regular basis. Before I started in this kind of work about 10 years ago, I had no idea that, I was raised in I wouldn't say a strict house, but I was raised, certainly there was discipline behind it if you did things. And, I'm quite happy that I didn't turn out like what most people, at least I don't think I turned out like an idiot, but I'm sure
Yeah.
somebody might disagree. But you know, because there was discipline and there were consequences to my actions, as a result. So, um, but just some of the ways we see people behave in hospitals, and mental health is a real thing, and mental health, you know, sometimes that's a whole
Yeah.
nother field to itself. But it's more the drunks and drug addicts, and certainly with COVID, we've seen all kinds of people who are not willing to either wear masks or whatever the situation
Yeah.
is. And so yeah, that's kind of what I do. I get to deal with people who don't want to behave in the hospital setting.
Well, then that's you kind of answered what I was going to ask you next, which is basically like how has COVID affected your work? And I guess obviously it's affected it maybe in the sense that a situation that was already sort of, not exactly the easiest job to do as far as even risk too, because who knows what these, people, how they act when they come in. You said they act poorly sometimes. Who knows if these people come in with weapons, and who knows what they could possibly come in with.
Yeah.
I can only imagine COVID has made this more difficult for you.
Yeah, I mean, the site I work at, we deal with a lot of homeless people, a lot of people, who are newer to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So English isn't always their first language, or, they may not always be fluent in it, and that
Mm-hmm.
certainly adds extra levels of complexity to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's fun and exciting at the same time.
Exactly. So the reason why I asked that is because I wanted to conclude this by saying that it's interesting what all of us do, behind the scenes, behind our love of music. Because I mean, when we go on our message boards and we go on our like groups, like we do, like the Projekt Gemineye one, you know, I find that it's kind of like an escape. We can talk about music, things that we love on there, and we leave that world to the side for at least a little while. And I think that's also what music helps, do as well. So like sometimes when I hear people say, like they love Ordinary Day because it takes them sometimes out of their work week, or it takes them out of a situation that they were in to listen to their music. I think it's very important that people, like appreciate that, or realize that that happens. And I'm obviously you're no different. You have a difficult job, and I'm guessing that maybe this is why sometimes this kind of music, not just mine, but Kiss and other bands too, are important to everybody's kind of day-to-day life.
Absolutely. I mean, music has always been a very big part of my life. As far as I don't want to say I've necessarily said, oh, I need to cope with something, I'm going to put some music on. But
Mm-hmm.
I often have music on, especially when I'm driving to work or somewhere else. Pretty much, you can guarantee music is going to be on. And as you know, I have a Harley Davidson, and I often
Mm-hmm.
take long trips, which have been um, kind of cut short going to the States last year, and probably this year. Now it's looking, I'm trying to be optimistic, but it's not looking
Mm-hmm.
great. But that's, I fill up my iPhone with music, and including Projekt Gemini, obviously, and that's what keeps me going down the road when I'm doing 1,000 kilometers in a day. I can't be listening to podcasts while I'm
Yeah.
listening, because it'll probably put me to sleep, as interesting as they are most of the time. I need something to wake me up and keep me alert, and a variety of music, whether it be Projekt Gemini or Kiss or Motorhead or Slayer or Elton John, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever I happen to be in the mood for at that particular time. Keeps me focused, and keeps me, let's be honest, it keeps me entertained at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah. Absolutely. So great. I mean, this has been very, very fascinating, and I'm very happy that you came on and decided to spend some time with me to chat about this. And yeah, so I think that we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much, sir, for coming on and chatting with me. Do you want to have anything to end your topic here with?
No, thanks for having me. It was wonderful. I have never done this before, so
You did
I'm
well.
I'm not sure how well it went, but thank you very much. And I look forward to more great music coming up from Project Gemini in the future, and obviously the Dark Monarchy as well.
Thank you very much, my friend. So let's get back to our other regularly scheduled program, and I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, so that was Mark Arnold and me talking about all things Project Gemini and music in general. I think it's a very interesting interview, and I look forward to doing more of these kind of interviews with people who are involved with Project Gemini behind the scenes, like I said. So that's it for now. There's going to be more to talk about very soon, as far as things that are happening and things that will be happening. Hopefully, I'll get some word soon on when I'll be receiving the album covers that I'll be signing and numbering. That'll be a good, cool thing to tape and show you guys. But until then, I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.